Hey everyone, this is my vlog. Um, as you can see, I've already been doing some art here. Sorry if I'm a little quiet. I've got my husband napping in the corner. Um, and I've had a lot of sinuses, so my voice is kind of lit. But you can hear that my cat is here to contribute. Um, so I've already been working on this piece. Some of it is about having multiple identities, the concept of having multiple identities within you that come out depending on what's needed. Um, some people are different at their job than they are whenever they're partying. Some people are different whenever they show up for religious events than they are whenever they um, are writing horror stories. Um, but also, I've been playing around a lot with the idea of reality shifting, reality swapping, alternate realities. I think that this is interesting because there's so much media right now that's playing around this concept of jumping between different realities, and I think it's indicative that everyone's kind of waking up to this possibility right now. So the idea is that if you are actually kind of all places and all things at once, then there's some part of you that has awareness within everything and everyone. Um, and so, like, you basically screen this out all of the time so that you can be yourself and focus on actually living a day-to-day existence um, in incarnation, as it were. But like, there might be another of you somewhere that's um, going through an entirely different life, and that person that you are over there is trying to ignore the experience that you're having in your life so that they can live their life. And what if you start gaining awareness of being these different people? Um, what are these states of overlapping awareness like? Um, what is it like to go through this phenomenon? Does it get in the way of regular day to day existence? Does it enhance day to day existence? Are there people who have been experiencing this for a long time and simply aren't talking about it? Um, are there people who've been experiencing this for a long time and have been talking about it all this time and no one pays any attention to them? Um, these are all questions I've been asking because I truly think that there's something about reality that is shifting and changing, and everyone is experiencing it. Um, and I think the reason why these stories are all showing up in pop culture at once is because it's a way for everyone to experience this together and to gain an understanding together. Um, I don't think it's necessary that everyone understand exactly what's going on. I don't think it's possible for me to understand exactly what's going on. Um, those two ideas go hand in hand. But I do think that it is interesting to gain an awareness of this side of reality, and that if it is going to happen to everyone, then why not um, find a way to not just enjoy this, I guess, but to explore this um, like a scientist, explore it like an explorer, explore it like someone learning a craft. Um, I think that this is actually just a larger piece of what I consider to be growing psychic awareness in humanity. Um, I think that as a species, we're starting to become not just aware of our gifts. I think that everyone, to some extent, has some sort of psychic awareness, and I think that this awareness is evident throughout history. There's plenty of stories of oracles and people with the gifts of dreams or prophecy. Um, there's plenty of interestingly um, able polymaths in history changing the world. Um, Looking at Leonardo da Vinci and John Dee, for instance. Um, so, there are already extraordinary people with amazing abilities that aren't really properly explored thus far. And I think that there's been no way of really gaining an understanding of everyone's awareness because we've had to be able to communicate, like have millions of people communicate with each other and understand each other in that communication to be able to understand just how connected we all are without that technology. Um, and we're still gaining that awareness. We're still gaining that connection. Uh, but it's always there and it's always going to be there. Um, Whether or not we let it become part of our day to day existence, I think is a choice that each of us can make. Um, I think at some point there will be a more generally culturally accepted awareness of this phenomenon. I think at some point it'll be a little bit more okay to talk about the idea that you are several people at once. Um, it's like take the idea of reincarnation and then add the fact that like uh, linear reality is an illusion. The linearness of reality is simply something that we project onto it to sequence it in a way that we understand. And the experience that we have of linear reality is something that we create within ourselves, within our own mind, to gain an understanding of the world around us. Um, so, if that's the case, then what is actually reality? What's happening that we don't know? What's there that we've been filtering out all this time? What if there's a vital experience that we've been filtering out all this time and in trying to filter out the noise of the things we don't want to hear? What if we've been ignoring something that um, it would be better for us to pay attention to? Um, I think that expanding understanding of psychic awareness and psychic senses um, is something that could really help a lot of people right now. And it's not really about, there is experimentation to be done, but it's not necessarily about the stereotypical scientific method style, getting a sample size of test subjects and having them all do the same activity and then have a control group do some sort of placebo type of activity. That's been done for decades. I'd say that's been done for about 100 years solid now. We've got all the data, y'all. If you want data on that to analyze, um, just research it because so many of these studies have already happened. The field is called parapsychology, and it really had its heyday up until the 60s and 70s. And then the religious movements of the 80s, the reactions to the Satanic Panic, and also the evangelical movement pretty much wiped out parapsychology as a field. And now it's either if you find somebody who's a parapsychologist at a university, they spend most of their time debunking psychics, um, and I find that to be a rather boring pursuit. I mean, sure, if there's fake psychics who are doing fake things, that's really annoying. But um, have you considered investigating any financial crimes lately? Because I'm pretty sure that they're doing a lot more damage with banks, real estate, and taxes than with, say, fake dowsing. So what I'm doing right now is I'm ranting about Richard Dawkins, um, because this is actually a thing that he does. He disproves psychics like dowsers by conducting seemingly scientific looking tests that are very rigged against psychics. He does a lot. He uses a lot of psychology to throw off his test subjects so that they don't feel comfortable and they won't even be able to properly calibrate their senses as it is. And he knows he's doing this because I think Richard Dawkins is also a psychic. So, welcome to my vlog. Apparently, it's salt time. Let's see. I had this idea of the head kind of opening up like a flower almost. And now we're going to see how that looks. Um, Sorry if I'm drawing bits of this that are off camera. I really, because I have because of the camera that I'm using, I really can't tell if you can see this or not. Sorry. Um, but, oh yeah, that'll work. Let's see if I can get some of this going. Okay. That took a bit of concentration, so I kind of blipped out. Um, I'm gonna keep drawing a little bit more. I don't know what I'm going to talk about exactly. The psychic stuff is something I've been researching for quite a while. I've been collecting a lot of books on the subject and getting kind of a timeline uh, the the discipline and for kind of when things were active in the field and when things kind of fizzled out. Um, but there has been testing, believe you me. Uh, this people were very interested in testing. You know that card scene in Ghostbusters where they have little cards with the symbols. Those are called Zener cards. Um, they were developed for psychic testing. They were literally developed for standardizing a type of card-based psychic testing. And the reason why it's card-based and the reason you use those symbols and those decks is because he worked out uh, all of the deck design to specifically benefit scientific data gathering. And that's why I say, the testing's already been done. They know that there is a phenomenon that is happening, that people can do psychic stuff. Um, and beyond that, I'm not really sure who knows what at this point. It seems to me that there's a certain fear of the public having confirmed psychic ability available to them. What if all of us were the X-Men and we simply just didn't know it? Like we all have the X factor. We're all mutants. We all have these special, magical, paranormal abilities that are super powerful, and we've just never been aware of it all this time because we've been convinced not to use them. Um, that's kind of how it is. So, I think part of the reason why there's no outreach yet for people who are psychic is because um, it's basically been a matter of, I mean, do you want the government to be in charge of this? I don't. I've already seen them try to be in charge of stuff like this. They're not very good at it. So I think until society kind of gets a hold of itself on just a more basic level, like standardized education that really works, public education in particular that really works, understanding basic childcare needs, uh, not letting people starve in the street, then like when we get that kind of boilerplate structure in society more in place, I think that we're going to see um, more acceptance of psychic abilities as being part of the mainstream and being an accepted part of human culture. But until we really get to that place, it's very hard for people to agree on things that are very hard to approach without fear. There's a lot of fear that comes up when psychic abilities come into play, and if you don't understand why that is, take psychic abilities and uh, basically swap that for any kind of paranormal activity. Demonic possession, that's actually psychic activity. Um, in fact, demonic possession is often a case of um, like psychological phenomena uh, taking hold of the core mechanisms of the brain and body and exhibiting behaviors that we're not used to humans having. Um, and so, like, I think that especially religion is something that's really been in the way of this because people have depended on religions to basically tell them what to do with people with psychic ability. And for too long, the answer has been, well, either do they do miracles? If so, then we'll make them a saint. If not, then we'll burn them at the stake. Or we'll simply discredit them and, like, just tell people that that doesn't happen and those people are always liars. Like, it's been tough. There's been nobody who's really had our backs besides people who aren't generally trusted by the mainstream, such as like pagans and New Age people. And I don't know. I think I'm gonna close up. That was a pretty noisy motorcycle, and my cat's meowing at my feet. But um, that's that's some of my thoughts on psychic research and on the development of psychic ability as a field and as a pursuit. If you're trying to develop your own psychic ability and you need guidance, I would suggest doing a lot of research. There's a lot of material out there. There's plenty to read, but uh, you don't have to like. There's no organization to join that is going to be able to tell you anything that a book can't. There, I said it for you. Later.